What's up, travelers? Prinston Hicks coming to you from the Cineverse. I'm out here at Green Street today, and I wanted to talk about a concept today while it was fresh on my mind. That's the idea of building the ultimate team. Now, I want to talk about the reasons how you build an ultimate team. I want to talk about some of the things that stop you from building the ultimate team, and ultimately talk about some of my personal experiences of where I've learned the value of building a team. In one of my favorite books, Built to Last, it talked about the idea that your business is your ultimate creation. Well, that's actually how you have to look at your team. The team is the ultimate creation. Now, a lot of people get away from this and they start thinking about their individual successes, their individual goals, whatever the case may be. But you have to understand the idea when you come together to build a team, the team is the ultimate goal. And I think this is what a lot of people get away from. And that's basically what happened with this group I've been working with. Now, this is a group, I love the group. And even the people that I'm talking about, I definitely have no problem with them. They're probably watching this video. But the ultimate problem, what it came down to, is that building a team requires everybody to be in the same mindset. Now, one person can't be thinking about having their talents or having their skills and not bringing those same talents and skills to the team effort. And a lot of times, it's just the mindset they're in. It's not necessarily a thing about a person being good or a person being bad or somebody not being skilled, but it's about them being bought into the system or being bought into the team and building the team as the ultimate creation. So a lot of teams, they won't have the best output from each person because each person is not bringing their best qualities to the team. And they may be in a certain mindset that's keeping them from reaching that level. So when you think about building a team, the first thing you have to think about is the team being the ultimate creation, and you build on top of that. So this leaves the question, how do we build a team the right way? Now, I want to say the first thing you have to start off is having a core vision and a core set of tenets, or a way to live, a kind of rules to live by, if you will. The reason you need these rules to live by is that every team has to have some type of direction. And anybody, and I mean anybody, who's not living up to that direction, you have to kick them out. Now, I always tell people this is a game, or this is a type of lifestyle that you're living. And somebody who's not willing to put in the work, they're not willing to put in the time, or they're not willing to put in the effort, they're just gonna hold you back. This is where people get into the confusion of friends and family or whatever the case may be. If the person is not bought into the core visions, if they're not bringing their best, if they're not following the core values, if they're not following the plans, then they're of no use to you anyway. So you have to take these people, you have to put them out of the organization, and then ultimately you can start building a team that is more structured around the core vision. Now that you have a team that's structured around the core vision, you have to put the plan in place. Once you put the plan in place of what the team's gonna do, you have to go out there and take massive action. Another point I wanna make on this, and I kind of thought about this as I was saying, is that taking action. A lot of people, when they build a team, they're okay with somebody saying doing just enough. And this is a big problem in a lot of teams. People just wanting to do just enough. Somebody might say, if you told them to make 10 calls today, they would make their 10 calls and they say, I made my 10 calls like I'm supposed to. But the type of team members that you want to build, or to build the absolute ultimate team, is building people who are going to take it to the next level. I think with this group I've been working with, and now you'll hear a lot from them later, but that's the type of people that we have on the team, is the people that call and they'll do the extra step or go the extra mile, if you will, in order to get things to happen. So even people having the mindset of I'm just doing enough is still not building the ultimate team. In order to get that ultimate team, you first have to have that core vision, and then you have to say, get the type of people that are unreasonable, type of people that are not willing to have mediocrity in their life, the type of people who are really going to build something up and challenge themselves and challenge you to reach that next level, and not just leave well enough alone. I want to talk about some of my personal experiences and how I really discovered this and got an emotional connection. So I was reading a book called Tribal Leadership, and it talked about the 5 stages of tribes. If you want to look at that book, I encourage you to pick it up, but this is a great book to read, and it really gave me an epiphany that wanted me to talk about building the ultimate team. Now, it talks about the 5 levels, and just to give the short and narrow of it, at the 4th level and the 3rd and 4th levels, you get to this idea of you're great, but nobody else is great, or you feel like you're the center of attention, or you feel like that your work is the best and nobody else's work can match up to yours. I personally found this is one of the biggest reasons that held me back from building great teams or even achieving my own success, because I kind of thought that, I was the best, or I was the most talented, or that my work was better than everybody else's work. And this really held me back in the long run. I think it's important to find the right type of people and find the right type of team to put around you, because you think that you're creating successes, but what you're really doing is hindering the growth of a team. And if there's one thing that's true, is everything that's built. There's not one thing that's been achieved, accomplished, that was great or even visionary without a team. Teams build everything. Your favorite products, the greatest movements. All these things were built by a team. And if you want to build something great, you have to be willing to put everything into that team. Now, I know that this is maybe a little bit unorthodox, but what I wanted to do here is briefly crack into, I guess, an impromptu conversation with a good friend of mine. You've seen him before in my videos, William Harwell.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Willpower. We out here.
But definitely what I wanted to do today is talk about a situation, because even out here tonight, it's what time is it right now?
It's about 2 o'clock. It's about 2 a.m.
Yeah. And Will's out here helping me shoot my video, and I help Will with a lot of stuff that he does as far as his business. But I want to talk about the idea of building a team and some of the things that we've actually found out working together recently about building a team. And you know, some of the hard decisions you have to make when it comes to building a team, whether that's, you know, people that are your friends and you don't really want to let them go because you're your friend, but it's hard to make that distinction between realizing what's best for the team and realizing what's best for the actual business or maybe even yourself, because even though you have that person in there, they might not be the best fit for you. You know what I'm saying? They might not really be somebody that you want to use or somebody that you really want to have on the team. Or it's not even a good fit for them because they have other obligations or they have some other goal that they're reaching for. So I guess just bringing you in again because like it's impromptu, like I say, to bring you in again just to talk about some of the reasons or some of the things that you've learned specifically when it comes to building a team and building the best team, some of the things you've learned on how to build the best team.
Well, I'm glad you asked, Prinston, because I feel like definitely you mentioned earlier about friends and family, especially when you're doing business. First things first, business is business. It's never personal. No matter what type of business you're in, what field you're in, business is business. So I never understood why people say, you know, you don't want to do business with family and friends. But if you have family or friends in your business, it can definitely cloud your judgment. And when you're in business, you want to make the most sound and most logical choice. So one person might be more fit, but just because you have your friend or your sister in the organization, then you might lean more so towards that person, even though they might not put it in as much work or put forth as much effort as the next person. So that's definitely one thing that you want to look out for.
So what would you say, like, as far as like, because I know a big one, like I say, and it's weird because to talk candidly on camera like this, but I say a big one though, like I was noticing is simply just making that hard decision to actually let somebody go, because I kind of got this idea, and it's my theory, it's like my personal theory, that you're never going to reach a higher level until you're able to make the harder decisions. Like you have, say for instance, a friend that needs to be cut. It's like one of those hard decisions you have to make. Or, you know, when we talk about taking massive amounts of action, is you could take action, for example, like I know in promotion you have to go talk to people like in the club. Now you go talk to maybe how many people you think in a night? Maybe 4, 5, 6 people in a night? Or the difference between maybe talking to 20, 30, 40, 50 people in a venue in a night in promotion, that's the difference between taking action and taking massive action. So I kind of think that in order to get to that next level, get to that next layer, you have to take that massive action. So I just like that experience when we were really debating on how to go about doing this, or how to go about really refining the team to its best parts. I just want to talk about the more emotional side of it, because it's easy to even take a video like this and say, okay, you know, you need to cut people out, you need to make sure your team is correct, you need to do all this type of stuff. But it's harder to understand the kind of back and forth that you go through in your mind when you're saying, you know, how do I build this team up the correct way, and how do I cut out the people? Because that's the only way the team gets to the next level. It's like you have to make, I guess, like a grown-up decision and say, I'm going to cut these people out, not because I dislike the person, but because the team is the ultimate creation. And to build something or anything of value, this is not like a social club or something. It's an actual real business, and the business has to be, there has to be a certain standard that the business holds itself to, whether it's values or core tenets, to build it up in the right way. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on, say, for example, some of the emotional stuff that's coming through? I mean, like, so you can jump in at any time, or if you've got any type of thoughts on this.
Well, definitely. I mean, especially when you're letting somebody go, whether it's somebody who's your friend or not your friend, this is somebody who you probably have had in your organization for some time. You've built some type of relationship with them. So it's a lot of emotional recourse behind it whenever you have to let somebody go.
What do you think the hardest part of doing it for you was?
The hardest part was actually doing it, you know, because, I mean, I feel like after you do something, after you say it, it's done. There's nothing you can do. You can't really take it back.
He came in the meeting, mad. He came in the meeting mad. That's what I know. Like, I bet you came in the meeting mad.
Though. No, I was very upset, not necessarily because this person made me angry, just because I was disappointed And like I said, it's a lot of stuff that comes with it, and a lot of people don't know how to separate their ego from business.
Because honestly, you care about the people. Like, you
Definitely, and you care about this person. And at the end of the day, it's a lot of fears involved. Like, what if this person hates me? What if this person isn't my friend anymore? What if this person goes and all the things that we talked about in our business goes and try to start up their own business? But at the end of the day, like Prinston said, it's all about the benefit and for the best move of the team. So you have to, like, it's something that you really just have to do. It's like the analogy of if this team or letting this one person go was in between you and your company achieving everything, all the goals that you set forth, or making $100 million, then would you let this person go? Would it be that hard of a decision? That's how you have to think of it, like, because I feel like if you're just letting somebody who isn't putting forth that effort or isn't putting forth that work or isn't taking it as seriously as other people, it's kind of like a disease. It's like it can spread and be infectious. It can get on other people.
Remove the cancer, right?
So you have to, quote unquote, remove the cancer, because it's like, let's just say I have Johnny over here and Johnny's a hard worker. Then we have Christine over here and she's a slacker. She doesn't do anything. Johnny is going to feel like, well, why do I have to work as hard if she isn't doing it? She's still part of the team. Or Johnny might resent you just for the simple fact that you're keeping her around so long. Then it's just so many debates and so much arguments and a lot of stuff that comes along with it. So it's a large thought process. And I'm not going to lie, I was fired from a job once. I was let go. And I never really understood why up until I had to do the same situation. Yeah. And it's like the job that I was working for was obviously somewhere that I didn't want to work. And I was coming in there, I wasn't up to par. My uniform wasn't ironed. I didn't have a positive attitude. So it's like I was the cancer to that particular team because I didn't take that job seriously. I didn't feel like that's something that I was supposed to be doing.
Because I'm saying would you say you were happier though? Like, that was actually the best decision for the organization and you because you were happier. Because I think, like, a point that you just brought up is that it really gets down to an idea of morality or an idea of, like, a lot of people, like, even if they hear you say, is it between cutting off your friend or making $100 million, a lot of people would say, is it about the money? But it's more about, it's not really a moral issue because me personally, and this, I'll just speak bluntly here, I sometimes even feel if somebody's not willing to go hard for you in the context of your business, they're not really your true friend. Because, it's a simple thing, and I don't want to get into like a relationship thing here, but people, for example, will say that they care about what you're doing, or like building on business. A lot of people like, when you're first starting off, nobody really believes in you at all. But then when you start making, everybody like, I always knew you would make it. But when it comes to like really supporting you or putting anything behind you, they're not going to do it. So a friend is like, right now, once again, it's 2:00 in the morning. This is still team building because we're building something greater, like a business network. But we're all working towards something. So this is what I'm saying, like a true friendship to me, because it's like, this is a person saying, okay, I'm gonna take the time to come out here 2 a.m. in the morning, like we're in the middle of downtown Houston, and shoot a video. But same thing in your business. It's the people who are slack on your business, they're really slacking on you, and it's showing like a lack of respect for you. And there's no disrespect to anybody, but this is just my personal opinion to it. So feel free to disagree with it or not agree with it. But the point I'm saying is that it's not really a moral issue. It's more of just a issue of we all signed up to do something, and what are we going to live up to that? And if you don't live up to that, you should be the first person to be like, yeah, I'm ready to leave because I'm not living up to that.
No, definitely. And to go back on what you said earlier when you were talking about respect, I feel like people take things seriously that they respect or that they want to take seriously. If it comes between getting a degree or going to a party, if you're really serious about that degree, you're going to put in those hours. You're going to put in that effort. You're going to study those extra long hours. You're going to burn the midnight oil. But I definitely agree with what you said. If somebody doesn't respect you enough to help you out or to benefit you, even if you have your own company that you started and, you want people to support you. Let's just say you're opening up a coffee shop. You want people to come buy your coffee. A friend shouldn't want to be like, I want coffee just because I know you. Exactly. I want a discount. So that's something that you're definitely going to struggle with as well. Support from your actual friends. A friend would want to support you because at the end of the day, when they get paid, wherever they work, they have a job. You can't go to their job and say, hey, you work at Express clothing store, for example. I want to get this shirt for free because I know you. because at the end of the day, they have to make sales to meet their quota so that they can actually make money so they can feed their family. And then on top of that, whenever certain people get their paychecks, they're going to go buy what they want to buy. They're going to invest in what they want to buy. And these companies and these businesses are ran by people that you don't even know, that aren't even your friends, that you can't even touch, that you could even call and say, hey, let me borrow $1, man. So at the end of the day, if you have somebody who's a friend, not only definitely if they're working with you, if they're supporting you, I feel like you should support somebody 10 times more.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. And I think that's like one of the big things I wanted to like kind of get as far as the perspective. Because like I say, this is because honestly, when you came here, you didn't know I was going to ask you to get on here. But I think because this is something that happened close to both of us recently, it just get a good perspective, kind of get an inside look, because inside like the real true parts of business development. Because I think something, as far as even with my channel, and I can speak candidly with the audience, is that I really want to show like all the parts of business development, like all the parts of the good and the bad, and not just get on here and talk about the tips and tricks and all this type of stuff. Like, of course, you have that type of stuff, but I think it's important to talk about this type of stuff because we're right here in it, like in the throes of building businesses and really trying to get things going. And these are things that come up. I mean, you hear this type of stuff, like you said. Like, I remember being young, I felt like a principal when I have to let somebody go or something, or somebody like, I feel like something, I'm like, well, this is crazy that I'm on the other end. And at the time when somebody told me, there's no way I could have understood. There's no way I could have said, oh, well, yeah, I'm wrong here. And I think that's the big thing. It's not an ego thing. It's like you drop that ego and you say, okay, this is what we're doing for a team. We're building something here. Because I think the crazy thing is all the stuff that you really want, when you just let it go and let it into the team, like you really build something greater than you get all the stuff that you really wanted anyway by building the team. And I think you brought up interesting points here, and that's why I said I just wanted to do the impromptu interview. And this is more I feel like the interview that need to be like said or need to be.
And then this is a little bit in a different direction, but I know especially when you're building a team, you want to also look at yourself and assess yourself and analyze yourself and make sure that you're leading by example. Because if you're not doing everything in line with your core vision and your core values, like you spoke earlier, if you're not doing everything in line with that, then why is the team going to follow you? You're going to have a lot of conflict and stuff. And I mean, being a leader is something that's very, very hard. It's a very difficult job. And I mean, I'm still growing into that role of becoming a leader, but it's like you have to always be on your job. So let's also look at both sides of the situation as well too. Are you doing what needs to be done? When something needs to be done, are you the guy who's sitting back in the chair like, oh yeah, I need you to do this, you to do this? Or are you the guy like, all right guys, let's go out, we're doing this, we're going here, we're going there?
You heard that quote? What's that quote? A good leader says, no, a bad leader says go, a good leader says let's go.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm coming from, because I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys who watch the channel, you guys have your own business, you open up your own companies, or maybe you're thinking about opening up your own companies. So it's like, let's even start looking at being a leader and filling that leadership role, because sometimes the reason why people may not respect us may be because it might be something that we're not realizing or that we're not open to or that we have an ego about. So let's just lose that ego, because like we were talking about earlier when I said business and personal, when somebody comes to me and they tell me, hey, I need you to do this, or we need to do this, or why aren't we doing this? I'm not taking it as a personal attack. I'm taking it as motivation. Like, okay, well, let me get on my job, or let me do this.
And I think like you said, it's a big one. And this is just crazy. Like, the leading by example, I think, is a big one, because I think a big thing in just when you're developing yourself in general is how to get that self-awareness. And even going back to the example of team building, a lot of stuff that you've even talked to me about, or I've talked to you about, you get those blind spots. Yeah. And that's what I think the team is the biggest benefit, because they're gonna tell you, like, if I'm doing something I'm slacking, I might take a day and I'm slacking. If you call me and say, what's going on? What's going on with the plan and all this type of stuff, it's still a team. And I think in my own life, I had this like epiphany, like I said, when I was reading this book recently, and I found that like our lives are really a sum of all the pieces that have been that we've had in our lives, whether that's friends, family members, everybody who's helped shape us. And I kind of looked at it different, because I was reading this book. It was an audio book, which is the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius, and it's a really old book. It's in the public domain, but he talked about at the beginning, he said, from my auntie I learned this, from my uncle I learned this, from this person I learned this. And he's like one of the greatest Roman emperors of all time. But the only reason I use that is to say this, that that's kind of how I looked at my life, is I learned this from my grandmother. I learned this from my mother. I learned this from this friend. I learned this from my uncle. I learned this from this person. And all that was really team building when you look at it in what my life is. My life is a team building project, as all our lives are a team building project. It's only when we get into the concept of saying, you know, I'm going to do it all myself, that we really start to fall back, or we really start to lose that momentum in our lives. And I think, like you were saying, the big thing is that from a team building standpoint, we have to get that self-awareness in order for us to really start building a team in the correct way, because it has to start with us before we can ever go externally and build a team in the correct way.
Definitely. And I mean, you really spoke on something that really touched me when you were talking about your life being the sum of the whole. You know, the different pieces of your life form as an actual team to form the whole, because it's like, I feel like a team is going to be a representation of you, whether it be an external team or an internal team. And it's like, when you're talking about your different relatives teach you different things, it's like, I'm pretty sure your parents or your relatives or maybe your friends have taught you different things, but it's certain things that stuck out a little bit more, that stuck in your head a little bit more, that spoke to you a little bit more deeply. So it's like, these are the things that fall in line with our truest self. Exactly. And what we actually want to do and where we actually want to go. So when these certain things speak to us or talk to us or just really just stick with us or stand out with us, we have to follow those. And especially with the team, it's certain members that you're going to resonate with on different levels than other people.
And some of them not at all.
And some of them you really aren't going to resonate with.
Some of them are not serious.
Exactly. And it gets to the point to where you have a whole team and everybody's working, and it's the one person just sitting around kind of twiddling their thumbs in the back.
But they're trying to pretend that they know.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really hard, because sometimes you don't see it until it might be too late, or you don't see it till it's after, and it's like you just have to make that decision.
Yeah. But I think, and it's just another point with you even saying that, is like, I think another big one is getting out of that victim mindset, because like, I think a lot of it came down to victim, like everybody's picking on me. And I say, even the negative experience from all those people, like every relative, when I say I learned something from, it wasn't they came to me and said, oh, this is something that I'm teaching you, or this is a concept I'm teaching. It's negative, like behavior. Like last week I talked about perpetuating the same behavior over and over. But it's like, I learned that from them. And that all was part of team building, because it all helped me get to the point where I have the work ethic to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning and come shoot a video, even though I don't necessarily feel like it, but I have to shoot a nighttime video, or us just driving around like downtown, like, where are we going to shoot the video? And this be a good spot like this, or us like when we talk about the business type stuff, us staying up and sitting out plans and all this type of stuff. That work ethic came from seeing what negative behavior didn't get, or seeing what positive behavior does get you. So I think a big part of the team building is just learning to get into the concept of learning from everything and taking all those concepts and applying it for the team, because it's almost like everything you're doing is leading up to that point when you ultimately run the team. So did you have
and I mean, like a team is just one last thing. A team is always about building. Like, I know you've seen the shots earlier where he was in front of the crane or whatever. A team, you want to build. You want to look at a team as you're building a tall building. And first you start off with the foundation, the base. You need to have a good, strong base, and these are going to actually be the people in your team. And once you have this good, strong base, this good, strong foundation, you can start building forward and building higher towards the sky. Because
you got a trash base.
Exactly. If you have a part of your base, a brick that isn't in the right direction or in the wrong spot, everything that you build can easily crumble. Everything you build can topple over and fall. So you want to start with that strong base, that strong foundation, and build your team up. And that's all I got to say.
Yeah. Well, like I said, this is an impromptu interview, and I thought this is kind of what emerges. And part of one of the things I want to do with the channel is show you the most authentic version of building the business. So if you follow me and Will, you'll definitely get to see a true entrepreneur's journey from the start all the way to like the higher levels. And I think this is just kind of more behind the scenes, in-depth look. It's the first video I've done like this, and I'm actually kind of proud of it, to be honest. Sitting here just having a practical conversation. This is the type of conversations that we have on a regular setting, and this is like something I wanted to bring to the camera. Just talk about the true elements of business building, because like I say, even putting a video out like this can be a little bit nerve-wracking. because like every time we out here, people are looking at us and all this type of stuff, and they're like, they're wondering what we're doing. But I wanted to talk about this while it's fresh on my mind and get an insight from somebody else, because this is team building, what we're doing right here. Like you helping me shoot shots or holding the crane for me, and really adding this in here. So I added this part in at the end of the video just to say, this is something different. Why stick to the norm? Why just go do the own thing? So just think about that when you're building a team. Have that core vision in place. Have that. Oh, you want to say something else?
Yeah. And one more thing, guys. Since we're talking about building a team, this guy, Mr. Hicks right here, has really been helping me and working with me as far as building my team. So make sure you guys stay tuned to his channel and check up on us weekly and see our progress. Look at everything we have coming up. Also be on the lookout for Will's World coming soon and the Incrowd coming soon. We're going to be out in LA next week. Make sure y'all stay tuned to that.
Yeah, and you'll be seeing videos from us being out in LA. But just to wrap this up, I want to say, think about that. Think about everything you're doing, like not being a victim, like embodying those qualities as a leader. Think about your core values, core vision. What do you really want? What type of impact do you really want your business to create? And then from there, get those core tenets in place, those things that you live by, the type of behavior that you absolutely will not compromise on. And from there, build a team that buys into that. Not a team that's going to be, when they're in the meeting, they're on their phones or they're sitting back in the back laughing on it. Really just overall not bought into the system, or they're playing around. Think about building a team like that. And from there, use your own life experience, negative and bad. Don't look at any experience in your life, even negative, and say, oh, that was something bad happened to me. Use that as something that's a learning experience, and you'll build a strong team as the team of yourself. I guess that sounds maybe a little bit corny, but the team of yourself. And you'll build a better team because you'll be bringing all the positive and negative things that happen to your team into place and keeping that team as the core focus. So as usual, if there's anything you want to hear me discuss on this video blog, send me a message to this email. Also, leave us a comment at the bottom. If you want to learn more about Will, I'll put his information up at the bottom. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time.